Hey guys, it's WaifuGate. So, today we'll be focusing on a deck guide for Tezz Misdirection, an interesting take on control in best of one. We'll cover the deck's goals, matchups, and sideboarding. We'll also be showcasing some gameplay later in the video, and somewhere in the video there'll also be a code giveaway for MTGA. It's only good for a one-time use, so first come, first serve on that. If you win and would like to share, you can put it in the comments below. We keep a leaderboard on stream for the best and the worst pull for the code, just for some fun, you know? Good stuff. And with that being said, let's jump into the list. Go. So we've got, for Tezz Misdirection, this is a deck designed specifically for best of one. All right. We don't do best of three with this deck for the main reason of Card in the Great Creator, right? The -2 here allows us to choose an artifact that we own outside of the game or in exile, which in MTGA Arena or tournament settings is ruled as your sideboard or, you know, an exile, which is pretty easy to understand. And put that card into your hand. So what we're doing here is we're having, we have a couple of doubles, like really strong cards like Meteor Golem, and Spyglass is 2-ofs, just in case we need multiple uses. Being able to grab an extra one from the sideboard's awesome. And then other than that, we have really situational cards. Some of these will be able to pull us ahead, like press our advantage, and others are more defensive, like the Meteor Golem answers something that's reactive, whereas the Chamber Sentry, if we have this out, because we use Jingatha, right? So add those manas, right? Can't be spent to spend generic, which is fine. And then this allows you to put Chamber Sentry into your hand from the graveyard. Also, you can tap X and just make it really beefy when it first comes out, which is kind of cool. So this might actually find its way into the main deck over maybe a Stone Cold Serpent or two. I mean Stone Coil Serpent. Sometimes we meme and call him Stone Coil Steve Austin. Kind of fun, but it's besides the point. Basically, just a lot of good cards. This one is the one that pulls us ahead the most, I'd say. When we have a lot of HP. Between this and Mystic Forge, we can just keep casting stuff almost indefinitely, and then just using the Citadel can be a win con on top of dealing damage with like Tezzeret's +1 here, or +2, sorry. So anyway, let's get the deck and what its goals are down first. So we kind of explained why it's for best of one. What else does it do? So we've got Soul Guide Lantern as a 1-of here. I'm not sold on this. This is just something I'm messing with. Just felt like instead of Witching Well and some of the other cards that we were trying to play, Vantress Gargoyle, etc., that it would be better to draw and go a little bit more and rely a little heavier on the board wipes instead of like a 5/4 blocker that can't block sometimes because we play all of the cards from our hands. Just food for thought. Vantress Gargoyle was originally in this list. It also fueled the graveyard and such as well sometimes, or it allowed us to pitch a card off the top that we couldn't cast, like a land, for example. So that's something to consider, but I don't think it's great. Like it felt very medium, and I mean that's not something we should consider heavily because I only played a few games with him. It's just like thinking about it hypothetically, like if I'd rather have this or another draw card or something else in the list, this felt like it was least, like, not as important as, for example, like the Soul Guide Lantern to mess with the graveyard or another egg to gain life, etc. So I ended up dropping him for now, but feel free to experiment. That's one of the better cards, I think, for the list, if I can figure it out and how exactly I feel about it. We've got 4 board wipes. We've got ramp in the form of Mana Geode, and Simulacrum here. And then everything else is just very, very powerful. This is also a card that we use instead of this sometimes because it's colorless, so it's discounted by Eugene, and if we've got Infinity for artifacts, the X can be like let's say we have 5 artifacts out, right? That means Stone Coil for 5 is free because we have Affinity for artifacts, so you can just throw it onto the table. So like Tezzeret can make everything else very, very cheap. It's something kind of unique, and mainly why I wanted to build around this deck was the Affinity, because it kind of gives us something different to do. You know what I mean? Like it gives you that different type of power trip, if you will. 1 second. Yeah, I just need to turn this off. Sorry about this. Okay, so that's better. That was just bugging me because I can't talk with my hands or anything if I don't have my hands here on the webcam. So anyway, so other than that, we use a lot of cantrips that allow us to play with the top of the deck for Mystic Forge. So this itself, if we hit a land, for example, or something we can't cast like Extinction Event, we can pay 1 life and tap this, exile, and then we have a new card on the top, which will allow us to potentially cast another thing. It's sort of like Frenzy with mono red, but cooler because, you know, we're not mono red. So we're also allowed to like cast Simulacrum. The only cards that we can't cast off the top are lands, Tezzeret, and Extinction Event. Everything else we can cast. So it gives us a wide variety of targets because this is colorless. So these Eugenes, these powerhouses are just great. And once we get a 6-pog Eugene down, we're able to cast like a lot of our things at discounted prices and sometimes free. Like this, all of the top end here is free. Mana Geode is 1 mana, pays for itself because then you get the Mana Geode down. You know, it's just great. And then you're able to like Karn, maybe grab another artifact from the sideboard and keep kind of comboing off. And it's just kind of fun. Stonecoil is also great because we can get them up to like, you know, 5, 10 pretty easily. And then we have the Shadow Spear from the sideboard so we can get some lifelink going and gain a bunch of life. This also is one of my favorite parts of the deck. So aside from our top end, that's pretty much how you close out games, is just going over the top. You can win with Citadel from the sideboard. You can win with the Tezzeret plus. You have like damage from Eugene and Eugene here. Like you can just make an army, etc. Like you don't have to worry about winning the game. The deck eventually does that for you, and it's not slow about it. It's actually pretty fun, and usually people will scoop to you before you can actually combo off all the way. And it's kind of boring, but like I understand it. It's still fun because then you get to check off, did I have fun? Did I combo? And it's great as the pilot. This deck is very, very hard though. Like to calculate when to cast Tezzeret in order to discount and play other stuff. There's a lot of ordering information. Like if you +1 Eugene, for example, at the wrong time, then you get wrecked. So what I mean by that is, generally speaking, you want to use your Planeswalker's effects almost as soon as they hit the field in case the opponent has something like a Brazen Borrower, so you don't get robbed of your effect, you know, your plus for the turn. In this case, though, it's almost worth it taking the chance of getting robbed, unless you, of course, know that your opponent has something, and then, of course, cast it. Like if you can see their hand for some reason, like they Narsetted a murderous, not murderous rider, but they Narsetted like a E2 Extinction or something, and you know that it's in their hand, and you play Eugene and then you don't plus it, of course it's going to get exiled before you can do your effect. But if you don't have any information, assume that your opponent doesn't have an answer on your turn for it, and cast like the Maze Mind Tome off the top with Mystic Forge first, right? And then +1 Eugene once you hit a land drop or a drought for a forge, like once you get caught up. So just pay attention to those little intricate things in order to combo more. And do not feel bad if you mess it up a few times. I think even in this video for gameplay, I mess it up. Later on, you'll probably see me punt at some point or another, as I'm still learning the deck. Don't be afraid of that. You're going to learn how to play it if you like the deck. So in regards to like, so overall goal, ramp, forge, ramp more, etc. Keep comboing until you win. Use Citadel from the sideboard, stuff like that. And you'll see later on in the video how mass manipulation gets countered by that. Be fun. So anyway, so in regards, so we've got what the deck does down so far. And then we've got like what matchups next. So matchups, I'd say that we do okay against aggro, but honestly, Jingatha. So this tricks our opponent. The one more thing for the goals of the deck and like what our deck does. This tricks the opponent into thinking that we're like Rakdos, especially if we play like a swamp first or something. Like they think that we're some type of weird Sakdos list, which is really fun. That's one of my favorite things. And we get a 5/5 for 5, and this thing is great with Shadow Spear to sustain. And if you have affinity for artifact, Jangotha can sometimes be like 1 or 2 mana, which is just great. I love it. So that's another point. Okay, so matchups. I would say that aggro is hit and miss. It's probably like around 50, but if I'm going to be honest, maybe slightly less than that sometimes because we don't have a lot of board wipes. If you are struggling a lot with aggro, I would say try to consider the gargoyles again, or chuck Jangotha out the window, which is sad because then we lose our misdirection. But chucking one of these plus like 1 golden egg or the soul guide, and then maybe 1 other card for like 3 rituals of soot could make the list a lot more sturdy against aggro. That's what I would probably suggest. Now we do lose some of our fluidness for the deck because we have less cards that we can cast off of Forge, but it might be worth it to just not die to aggro. If we end up like messing up our combo once in a while because there's a soot on top, so be it. Maybe it's worth it since we don't just like scoop to aggro. And that being said, we don't scoop to aggro, but sometimes it can be frustrating with just Extinction Event and relying on like Planeswalkers and stuff. Typically, I do pretty good against the lists that are like hybrids, like the Bant Ramp that uses the Jolrel, I think is her name. Jolrel, something like that. When they use creatures and planeswalkers and other threats, because typically we can find like maybe 1 Extinction Event pretty early, and then evens, remove all the tokens, etc., and then we push ahead with card advantage, and Bant does kind of struggle to keep up because even if they can for example produce something like a Hydroid Krasis with a Nissa a little bit, we can typically find an answer for that just with Eugene like -3 to blow up the Nissa, or this to exile everything once we ramp up enough. Like we can answer a board state once and it's not too bad. And if they want to draw a bunch of cards, they play like a Hydroid Krasis, right? And then they take the turn off, and then maybe we can combo off and get more cards than they did. So oftentimes it's a battle of solitaire, and we can do okay in those actually. So Bant Ramp isn't that bad. I would say Tamir Wreck is probably the worst matchup because we don't have a lot of interaction with that. Like we have to Eugene, and then like I don't even know. Like it's really tough. I wouldn't expect to win a lot of games against Tamir Wreck. So if you're running into that a lot in best of 1, it might not be the best call. I'm not really sure what we could adjust in the sideboard. Or main deck, aside from maybe main decking like 1 Unmoored Ego for the expansion explosions, and that's not great because they still have Shark Typhoons. But we can fight those with like Eugenes and other stuff. So it's like you just have to pick what you wanna kind of match up against well. That's pretty much the summary of it. I can check what types of other decks that we might run into in ranked real quick. So MTG, I've been leaving my computer on way too long doing all these YouTube projects. So just bear with me here. So we go here to MTG Goldfish, decks, metagame, and then we can kind of see here what's popular. So Bant Ramp we do okay against. Tamir's kind of a give up match. Mono red we do okay. This one's kind of okay. I'd say Sultai can get a little rough with casualties, but typically speaking we can like combo off and get a lot of value before they actually casualties of war. And I don't really see Sultai that much in best of 1. But that's sort of subjective. Like what I fight on the ladder might be different from what you fight in the ladder, so I wouldn't really hold that to too much weight. Jund Sacrifice, it's not too bad. Like typically speaking, we go over the top more than them, and we have answers to Mayhem Devil, such as like Extinction Event, etc. To where like as long as we stop the bleeding early on, we do all right. And we can also Spyglass for Witch's Oven or Cat Familiar or something, so it's not terrible. Like, we can slow them down. Mono red can get away from us just because they're really, really fast. Mono black, Rotting Regisaur can kill us really fast. Other than that, like, if we can't find chumpers for this guy, it's kind of tough. Or an answer like Extinction Event. We do have a lot of vision. Simic Ramp can be pretty rough because they can just win out of nowhere. So if we don't kill them fast enough, they kind of just end us. But don't really see this a lot in best of one. But like I said, don't take that too seriously. And then Simic Flash. Simic Flash is probably the toughest matchup. Like, any type of Flash list is going to be really tough for even tap out control. So I'd say those are the matchups. And the sideboard, I mean, I've kind of there's no real sideboard guide aside from, like, you know, situations where things might be useful. This is kind of a weird one. So exile the Wand of Vertebrae. So I'm just going to cover weird cards and what their functions are in the sideboard real quick. And then we'll jump into the gameplay. So exile Wand of Vertebrae for 2 mana, shuffle up to 5 target cards from your graveyard into your library. This is to make sure we don't mill. Now, with another activation of Karn's Thing, the -2, you may choose an artifact that you own from outside of the game, which is our sideboard, or an exile. So if we have exiled any artifacts, or if any of our artifacts have been exiled because of, like, Elspeth Conquers Death, like we get the Citadel down, they exile it with Elspeth Conquers Death, we can get it back with Karn's -2, which is really, really cool. Something that a lot of people might miss if they don't spend a lot of time with these types of lists. And then we've got the Wishclaw Talisman, which if we grab this with Karn, it means that we have Karn. And what Karn does is his passive, right? Activated abilities of artifacts your opponent's control can't be activated. So we just get a free tap at this. And the main reason we have this is because there's no other way to really tutor for Tezzeret. Like there is, like we could Diabolical Tutor or whatever it's called, the new reprint from M21, but that's kind of clunky and this is just cheaper. So like you can just pay 2, boop, and then you can get something, and usually we grab like Tezzeret or something we can't like fetch out of the sideboard. Basically, maybe we get the second Karn as a backup, etc. Like there's a lot of options for this, but the funny thing is like your opponent doesn't get to activate it, and that might cause like a tilt, or just maybe the opponent likes the combo, you know, or like maybe you like the combo, which is more important. Spyglass, this can hit a wide variety of cards. This can shut down like Planeswalkers. It can shut down Castle Ardenvale if we're struggling with that. If the opponent's on like mono white and they're just chipping away at our HP because we don't have a Planeswalker to produce dudes as fast as them, etc., it can just shut down a lot of stuff. So it's just a great sideboard card. This can also work on creatures, so like Scavenging Ooze, etc. Like it's a very versatile card. Spark Hunter Masticore is just a nice thing to pressure Planeswalkers with. It has protection from Planeswalkers. And then you can ping Planeswalkers for 1 mana, which if we ramp up, it's pretty nice. And it also can get indestructibility. So this with like Shadow Spear can get a lot of work done even against aggro, making it indestructible and just blocking each turn until we can find an extinction event. Just kind of a nice thing. This is one of our win cons, as you'll see in the video. It's pretty fun. The sacrifice 10 plus the damage from Tezzeret's +2. We can push through a lot of damage with this, and it just lets us combo even heavier with Mystic Forge. God Pharaoh Statue, just something to kind of tax the opponent with. It can also be a 6/6 beat stick because of Karn's +1 here. Where's Karn? Here. So up to, until your next turn, up to 1 target non-creature artifact becomes an artifact creature with power and toughness equal to its converted mana cost, and it taxes the opponent because it's a 6/6. And they start losing 1 life, so they get taxed there, and their spells cost more, so like it's a permanent ECD saga, which is really cool. Meteor Golem, it's not even that, it's all spells, not even non-creatures, so even creatures it costs more, so that's the difference there. Meteor Golem just answers anything. It's very reactive, but sometimes this is necessary in our types of lists. This blows up anything. It's great. And it's a 3/3. It's pretty decent to block with. Chamber Sentry is just sort of, it's kind of a meme, but I think it could be good. because it's an X card, so we could also just make it really beefy. And then if we have Jengatha out, we can bring it back from the graveyard or use Jengatha mana to ramp and make this guy really, really big. And then just tap X, tap, remove, and then maybe that fireballs someone to death. It's kind of a flashy finish, but I can respect it. And then Stonecoil Steve Austin just as the third one. So we have a creature that we can grab to block, like, you know, multicolored creatures on the field or whatever. And that's pretty much it. You'll get a feel for when to Karn and what to Karn for as you play the lists, like you usually will for combo decks and such. Just wish sideboards in general, like if you play Tamir Reclamation. Something I didn't cover before too are the lands. So Interplanar Beacon, just life gain, because we do have a lot of planeswalkers like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Plus, like, we don't need colored mana for almost anything here. Like 1 black, 1 blue, 1 black, that's it. You know, it's easy. So like we're allowed to gain life, we're allowed to run 2 blast zones for aggro, and we're allowed to run like 2 triomes to cycle. These are pretty nice, just in case we get flooded with lands. Same thing with Vantress, it can let us scry end of turn. And don't forget to scry during your upkeep with this. I think I went over this on one of my other videos, but I forgot to touch up on it. You can set an upkeep stop, much like we used to with treasure maps, and scry before you draw so you can control the card that you have access to that turn, which will allow you to maybe find a board wipe in time, ramp in time, land drop for that turn instead of scrying at the end of your opponent's turn and finding the land drop for the next turn. You work 1 turn ahead when you set the upkeep scry, so that's very important. And like just keep in mind like Mystic Forge and stuff when you do that. This is sort of like an early game thing for the most part, unless you really want to do that. You can also upkeep Exile with Mystic Forge to get rid of a land drop if you no longer want lands. Little things like that go a long way in the success of the deck. Because if you control 2 to 3 draws that you normally wouldn't have, that makes a huge difference in the long run. Many situations that you can get yourself out of otherwise you wouldn't have been able to. So let's jump into the gameplay. Hope that this was insightful so you can kind of know how to play the deck, what your matchups are, etc. And I will catch you guys in a minute. Although if we don't draw a land, it's kind of rough. I think I like doing this and then going Maze Mind. That way I can scry and I'm doing this just to remind myself to scry at the end of the turn. I don't, because it's the chase item in Path of Exile. It's called a Headhunter. It's a leather belt that lets you steal the buffs from other monsters as you kill them. It's extremely broken. It's like the iconic... Oops, I didn't mean to do that to you, man. This is supposed to be for my upkeep, not yours. From the Star Wars ship, okay. Gotcha. That's kind of unfortunate. Actually, we don't actually draw cards, do we? Like, aside from Maze Mind, but we just use this to scry or draw on their turn. That's perfect. We draw here. We don't need to scry because we know what we're getting into. Then we go Midnight Clock. And then we pass. Ding dong. Ding dong! Oh, the big Whifferino. We love to see that. Right? Oh no, it's Uro, dude. Casualties kind of wrecks us, to be fair. They're on like weird Esper Bant stuff. Oh no, they're on Tamir? What are they playing? Element? I don't know. Our opponent's brewing as well. We respect it. What's this do? Okay. Swamp, we take that. I think. Yeah, we might as well, right? We gotta land on top. So we can scry that to the bottom, but we can't afford to play anything anyway. So, like, we can just go like this, right? And have an extra land for next turn for Eugene. And just kind of chill here. And if we don't want to draw this, we can always mill it off the top or scry. This deck has so many lines. This is really cool. It reminds me of like the precog decks where we were playing stuff off the top. Oh, okay. We do have Graveyard Hate too, so if we can get Karn going, we're good. Tome is super dank, dude. Forge is dank. I love this deck. Deck's super funny. I think I like it in a best of one sense too, even in historic. We have more options for artifacts and stuff too, but I want to play it in standard for a minute while we still can. What's the midnight clock for ramp? That's fine. We'll pick that up, right? We can play Eugene and just destroy Narset, I guess. That makes stuff off the top a little bit cheaper, sometimes free. So I guess I'll do it. If they have veto, they have veto, and it's fine. Okay, so we can +1 the Eugene if we want to, right? And that allows us to take the swamp off the top. Okay. Now we can scry with this, right? Which allows us to put that on bottom. There's a Eugene, but we can't cast it, but we kind of want to draw that. So like, we'll just say go. Actually, do we want to draw that? Yeah, we do. If they don't have an answer for this, we definitely do. They could have a Crassus coming up next turn, and that's kind of rough, but we'll see what happens. Midnight Clock's getting fed. Interestingly enough, we can do this in Exile Evens. Yeah, they probably have casualties, right? Super boring deck. No, they don't have casualties. They have blue-red. Expansion Explosion, potentially. Maybe they get back Uro here. Uro is great because then we can go odds on Extinction Event. Kind of go off. Okay, Teferi's fine. Sure. They're probably going to bounce Clock. No, they bounced the creature. That's super interesting, actually. That actually helps us a lot. Because that gave us another land as well. Nice. This is shaping up. I like this. This just feels fun to play is the thing. Like, I know what I'm trying to do with the deck, which is awesome. Like, it makes a lot of sense. I did not consider the Eugene interaction with the +1 keeping us like combo heavy either. Like, that's super interesting to me. Okay, sure. We need to get rid of this Narset before the last thingy. So they put Yorion in their hand so they can flash and then bounce something else with Teferi. Which is fine. Just wish they would hurry up and do it. Okay. Yeah, War of Spark brought a lot of garbage cards into the format for sure. I can understand that, man. Like that dissatisfaction. Okay, so I can go ahead and put a counter on this. Okay. So if I play Eugene, I'm gonna have to lose the stuff anyway. So unless I want to do something a little different, I'm thinking just Eugene exile everything that they have, but it also exiles our clock, which is kind of sad. But I don't think there's a way that we can deal with all of the pieces unless we just go Eugene exile. You know? Like, I think it's sad, but it just has to happen. Oh, it's -5. Well, I need to exile so I can deal with everything, dude. Like, I think it's fine to do this. Because otherwise they're going to have, like, recursion in their graveyard and stuff. Yeah, and he'll definitely bounce the clock before it goes off, and I can only deal with Narset or the other one, so... I can +1 this just to get this land off the top. I can activate this to see if we can get some free stuff going on. Nope. Okay. So during the upkeep, we can exile that if we want to. So they just have an Uro to get through now. That's super weak. Well, they have 2 cards now, but they can definitely Uro. Could have plus the other Eugene for a card. Yeah, I did. I think. Oh, you mean to get it into my hand? These are colorless though, right? Oh, Fae of Wishes. That's rough. Okay. Well, that's gonna be tough to beat. What are they getting, I wonder? Probably just like a Eugene or something, right? How's it going, Honk? Welcome back, dude. Feeling less lonely. Mass Manip? Ooh, that's not good. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty boring, but I understand the concept. If that's just another way to do it. So we need to somehow get rid of that. I don't know how, though. I mean, I can exile my own Eugene. Let's go ahead and activate this just to get rid of the extinction event since we don't want it. We also don't want that, but it's okay. Not really much we can do aside from draw it. We have a Witching Well on top. So what we can do is just make it very hard for our opponent to get value off of that. We just do this. That way they can't get my Eugene with this. Yeah. And they can only get this Eugene and blow up into something without color, which is nothing that we have, which is pretty cool. And if they just hold that Mass Manip, I'm not sure what we can do about it. We can try to win him like 1 turn or something with the Tezzeret hit. Stop outplaying them, dude. And stop during our upkeep in case we want to. Yeah, they're gonna Mass Manip for 2. That's pretty weak. Well, I mean, they have the Fae as the problem. Like, Fae is kind of an issue because they can probably just go and grab another Mass Manip. Yeah, I believe in you. You can click on 2. Oh, they only want 1? Okay. That's fine. My stuff is now more expensive, which is fine. Okay. If I play Midnight Clock in this, then I can kill this with the plus, which is pretty cool. I need to be able to kill the Fae before they go off with it. Oh god. Come on, that's ignorant. That's tough to deal with. Okay. I don't really want to draw that card. Okay, that's acceptable at least. Better than a land, I think. Fabled we can use to crack. We crack this, then we shuffle this, which is cool. Okay, we get a blast zone. Blast zone's super interesting. Yeah, I mean, Fae is kind of a problem for sure. And then they probably have a counterspell at this point with like Wilderness and such, so. They probably just have Thassa's or something at this point. Oh, to each opponent? Oh, I can't do it to Planeswalkers. Whoops. That's a mistake. Ah. This is super funny, dude. I love this deck. It's just that Mass Manip's kind of rough. Like, Mass Manip's not really something that we're prepared to deal with, really. Is the problem. Oh, we can Spyglass Fae. That could have been an option, huh? That's a good idea. Then they'd have to like bounce the stuff. They'd have to have another Teferi and whatnot, you know? It makes it way harder for them. But yeah, this is my own Brew Void. Someone was like, brew around Tezzeret, and I was like, you know what? That sounds pretty interesting. So Tamiyo is kind of an issue. Because they can jam Tamiyo minus for Mass Manip. Splash red for Bolus? We don't need to. Why aren't they -3ing that? This can... Ah, I see. Stroke it? Okay. Give me, after this game, remind me, and I'll do the oil and everything for you. I don't need this upkeep stop anymore. Maybe I do, depending on what they're going to do. Oh, they can just -3 that Eugene and kill Tezzeret now, which is sad. I misunderstood how Tezzeret worked, by the way. I thought that it could hit Planeswalkers, so I thought I could solve the Eugene problem through that. So that's my bad. That's me being bad at the game. I can't force them to sacrifice now, but I don't think that matters too much. Yeah, that's fine. I think I can still draw this with confidence. I mean, we can still grab Meteor Golem as the thing. Or we can grab the Spyglass for Fae or whatever. Like, we have a lot of options, honestly. But yeah, that play, yeah. Are they going to discontinuity me? Probably. Why would they do it after the draw? Oh no, maybe it was me. Okay. So that was a misplay because of that. So I could Eugene and deal with their 2 planeswalkers here and the Uro. I don't really lose anything from this either. But they could be holding Discontinuity for a counter spell, like to counter me. If that's the case, I don't think we can beat that anyway, so I think I'm just going to jam it anyway. It counts as a counter spell because it removes everything from the stack and all. So... So I need to do this for 4. Yeah, it looks like 4. For Mastercore? It's 2 less to play, right? Oh, no? No, because we don't have Eugene yet. Oops. So I'm gonna scry with this. Can't play that. It's good to have a backup, I think, though. I guess that I just pass, right? Chill. For now. That's my Eugene, dude. They're big cheaters, man. They probably just have another Massman up. Oh, Jesus. Yep. I mean, I can still minus Eugene anyway. Misplay? For them? I don't know. Or me. The thing is, like, they have to wait a turn for Mass Manip anyway. Okay. That's fine. So if they go once in future, I don't think they have enough mana to also Mass Manip in the same turn. If they do, it's going to be for very little, I think. So I still think plussing the Eugene is still fine to kill that Eugene. Like, just so we don't have to deal with that anymore. I think that's fine. And then I just try to Citadel here and go off, I think. This can stay on top because we can cast it. I'll play this for 1 mana. To save a little life, I guess. Keep this on top. Ooh. I mean, like, why not, I guess. Their Fae is going to go back to their hand, which could be a problem. Thing is, like, I'm pretty low on life and they have a flyer and they have a field here, which is pretty rough. I'm just trying to think of... Oh, can I just kill them? No. But this is really good, though. I can gain 10 life. No, this opponent loses 10 life. And you can wait a second, dude. It's fine. It's a long game. You'll live. You'll be alright. Need Tezz for life? Yeah. That would be nice. Guess I can scry. Scry with this to gain life. This is a land that's sad, yeah. Can I can cast a Tezz if I draw into it, right? That's a thing. Yeah, exactly, Void. That's what I was thinking. Because we're just going to wait with the mass manip there. Yep, absolutely. I cast half my deck. Go. To be fair, we're almost dead, though. Like, we got 14 cards left to work with. This is our last Tezz. I mean, they can grab some of our creatures too, but whatever they pick, we just sack, right? They can't mass manip for more than 10. It's impossible. What a good deck, dude. What a good pog this has been. What a good Poggerino. Lantern and eggs, yeah. It's really funny, dude. Yeah? Yeah, you gonna do this? Gonna do this little card here? Yeah? Oh. And so the mystery was revealed how full of Citadel counters mass manipulation, huh? There you go. Hopefully the gameplay kind of showed you how the deck functions a little bit, how the flow of it goes, and how we can keep up with something greedy even, like Fae of Wishes, best of one ramp, which is just insane. Like that list like threw me for a loop, especially because of their triomes and stuff. I just didn't know what to think of it. Like I thought they had red mana. It was very trippy, but it was kind of fun to have like brew versus brew. I enjoyed that a lot, and I hope to have more of that in best of one and such. It's what I like about it sometimes versus best of three. There's a nice little just refreshing, you know, you get like slightly different meta sometimes. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, I do a deck guide at least 2 to 3 times a week now. I might be doing more lately and dropping some of the other weekly stuff in regards to the YouTube channel, like stuff that hasn't really been working out. So there should be more deck guides coming up, and there's always like an exportable list on Aether Hub down below. And my video guides are also up on YouTube, so like if you look at my Aether Hub, like you'll see some stuff there. And yeah, so if you guys have any comments or questions below, any suggestions for the list, love to hear them in the comments below. Or you can drop by my stream. I stream from 2 p.m. CST, Central Standard Time, until about 8 p.m. CST. So I appreciate hearing back from you guys. And there'll be a little end panel for subscription, and then like next video, etc. if you are interested in more content. And don't forget about the code. I mentioned that at the beginning, but just in case someone hasn't grabbed it yet, check that out. It's a one-time use, and I do those with all my YouTube videos up until like starting like last week. So the really old YouTube stuff won't have it, but anything coming out in the future, I'm going to try to include. So cheers. I hope you guys have a great day, and thanks again for checking out the video.